Bernie Sanders says we have to transition now. Now we have no choice, right this very instant.
It is no secret that we must transition away from fossil fuel, period, end of discussion. There ain't no middle ground here.
Right.
There is no middle ground.
There's no middle ground. Okay, so somebody gets up and they say, well, so there's no middle ground. Why are you driving a car? And Bernie's got nothing.
You seem adamant about climate change.
Yep.
Of course. So what ways would you take to practice what you preach if you were to become president? Because I know it's stressful and you have to travel a lot and you have to use fossil fuels.
No, I'm not going to walk to California. All right, look, I understand that. We do the best we can as an example, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you that we're not going to use fossil fuels.
Well. But I thought we have no choice. There's no middle ground. I cannot give you even one specific way in which I am reducing my carbon footprint. But it is a war, and we must do something, right? This is the beautiful thing about being on the left. It's a war against poverty, but I'm not going to spend my money on it. I'm going to spend somebody else's money on it. It's a war against climate change, but I am going to continue to fly my private jet to Iowa and out of Iowa.
Now, this is the kind of shit that fucking amazes me for a guy that's supposed to be known as an intellectual.
For example, you said
Sure.
Israelis like to build, Arabs like to bomb crap and live in open sewage.
Well, as I say in an article entitled, here's a list of all the giant, bad, dumb things I've ever said.
Or whatchamacallit, cool kids philosopher. He thinks that if Bernie really believes everything he's saying about climate change, that means Bernie shouldn't drive a car, he shouldn't fly his jet, he shouldn't even eat meat. But what the fuck is that gonna do to anything? What is that gonna do? Because I'm pretty sure Bernie's total carbon footprint, as it's called, is 0.000000% of the total emissions that go up into the air. So, is it more practical for Bernie to walk to California, New York, or for his 77-year-old ass to go around the country running for president from town to town to town to town so he can implement actual policy change? Oh, but no, Ben, because he drives a car, because he flies his private jet, that means, oh, he's a hypocrite. Stupid argument. He would like you to believe that, okay, he's a hypocrite, so we shouldn't listen to anything he says. But that makes no sense at all. No sense.
And again, sympathy can be measured, according to Democrats, in how many dollars from somebody else's pocket you spend. So you get Bernie saying this. People are telling me, Bernie, the plan you just released to combat climate change is expensive. And you know what? They're right. It is expensive. But the cost of doing nothing is far more expensive. Yes, this is always the easy thing to say, right? The cost of doing nothing, it turns out, until you reach about 2.5 degrees Celsius in global climate change, actually, the cost of doing nothing is less expensive. Okay, William Nordhaus, the Nobel Prize winner in economics last year, he has an entire book I've recommended on the show called Climate Casino. He does not reject climate change. He does not reject that the climate is changing, and he actually believes in a carbon tax. But even Nordhaus says, yeah, there actually is an economic tipping point at which it is not worth it to actually invest in stopping climate change below a certain point. So Bernie Sanders is just full of it.
All right, this just goes to show you that Ben's fucking full of it. Because the guy he just cited to prove his point, William Nordhaus, the Nobel winner in economics, actually doesn't agree with what Ben just said. And to be frank, this research didn't take me too long. So just goes to show you that maybe Ben doesn't, do his background research that well, and maybe you should be a little more, cautious when you listen to the guy. But here, a quote directly from Nordhaus. He said, "My research shows that there are indeed substantial net benefits from acting, wait for it, now rather than in 50 years, which would be when we hit that threshold." He goes on, waiting is not only economically costly, but will make the transition much more costly when it eventually takes place. Ooh, does that sound like, oh, it's more expensive to wait to do something now than it is to wait? So either, Ben's maybe not that smart and he misinterpreted the work from Nordhaus, or more likely, because this is what it turns out to be, there's an agenda behind what Ben's saying. So, keyword, cautious. Do your research.